The high school was just like any other kids rushing to class, teachers drowning in paperwork, and the low hum of teenage drama filling the halls. And then there was Marcus Johnson, the janitor. To most, he was just the quiet black man who mopped floors and emptied trash cans, his head always down, his presence barely noticed. Some students smirked when they passed him. A few even made a game of dropping garbage in his path, snickering as he bent to clean up their mess. But everything changed the day real respect walked through the front doors. And it wasn't for the principal. It wasn't for the star quarterback. It was for him. The high school hallways buzzed with the usual chaos, students laughing, lockers slamming, teachers scolding. But in the middle of it all, Marcus Johnson, the quiet black janitor, pushed his mop bucket down the linoleum floor, ignored by most. Some of the kids sneered as they passed him. A few even tossed trash in his path, smirking when he stooped to pick it up. To them, he was just the help, invisible, unimportant, until they showed up. A group of men in crisp military uniforms marched through the front doors, their boots echoing like thunder. Students froze. Teachers stared. The principal rushed forward, but the soldiers ignored him. Instead, they stopped in front of Marcus and saluted. The room fell dead silent as the commanding officer spoke, voice booming. "Sergeant Johnson, we served under you in the 75th Rangers. We never forgot how you saved our lives in Afghanistan." Marcus straightened, his worn janitor's uniform suddenly looking different, no longer a symbol of shame, but of quiet dignity. The students who had mocked him gaped. The teachers who had ignored him stood in stunned silence. The officer continued, loud enough for everyone to hear, "You led us through hell, sir. We came to remind these people, you're no janitor. You're a damn hero." And with that, the soldiers snapped another sharp salute before turning and marching out, leaving the school in shocked silence. Marcus picked up his mop and went back to work. But from that day on, no one ever disrespected him again. The whispers started immediately. "Did you see that? He was a ranger, a sergeant. I threw my gum at him last week." Marcus kept his head down, pushing his mop in slow, steady strokes. But the air in the school had changed. The students who had once smirked at him now hesitated before walking past. The football players who used to accidentally bump into his cart stood frozen when he approached. Then came the rumors. Someone looked him up online. Marcus. Purple Heart, Silver Star, led an extraction mission under enemy fire, carried two wounded soldiers to safety while taking 3 bullets himself, retired after 15 years of service. And now, cleaning up after spoiled teenagers. The next morning, the principal, a stern man who had never so much as nodded at Marcus, stood at the front of the auditorium, sweating under the lights. "Students, faculty, we owe someone in this building a long overdue apology." The doors swung open. Marcus stood there, not in his janitor's uniform, but in his old dress blues, medals gleaming. The entire student body erupted in gasps. The principal's voice cracked. "Sergeant Johnson, on behalf of this school, we're honored to have you here." Silence. Then, from the back of the room, clapping. One student, then another, then the entire auditorium erupted in a standing ovation. The same kids who had mocked him now stared in awe. Marcus didn't smile. He just gave a single, firm nod. A week later, Marcus was offered a new job teaching the school's ROTC program. He turned it down. "I like the quiet," he said. "But if y'all want to learn something, respect isn't given with rank. It's earned by how you treat people no matter what they're doing." From that day forward, the students didn't just stop bullying him. They started greeting him. "Good morning, Sarge. Need help with that, Mr. Johnson?" And the trash that once littered his halls, not a single piece was ever dropped again. Months passed, and the school had changed in ways no one had expected. Marcus still arrived before dawn, still mopped the floors, fixed broken lockers with the same quiet precision. But now, when he walked the halls, students stood a little straighter. Some even saluted, not out of mockery, but genuine respect. Then came the day everything came full circle. A new transfer student, a loudmouthed senior named Jake, thought he was untouchable. Football captain, rich dad, the usual arrogance. He'd missed the whole salute incident and saw Marcus as just another janitor to mess with. One morning, Jake deliberately knocked over Marcus' bucket, sending soapy water splashing across the hallway. A few kids gasped, others clenched their fists, waiting. Marcus didn't react, just bent down to pick up the bucket. That's when the entire football team stepped forward. The quarterback, a junior who'd once been one of Marcus' worst tormentors, got in Jake's face. "Pick it up," Jake laughed. "Or what, you gonna cry over the janitor?" Before anyone could move, the smallest kid in school, a freshman Marcus, had once stopped some seniors from bullying, walked up, grabbed a roll of paper towels, and started cleaning. Then another student joined. Then another. Within seconds, half the hallway was on their knees, mopping up the mess for him. Jake stood there, face red, realizing for the first time he was the outcast now. At graduation, the principal announced a special honor. "This year, we're awarding the first ever Iron Johnson Leadership Medal to the student who best exemplifies courage, integrity, and respect. The winner, the quiet freshman who'd been the first to stand up for Marcus." As the crowd cheered, Marcus stood in the back, arms crossed, watching. No speech, no fanfare, just a single nod of approval. And that, more than any medal, was what they all wanted. Marcus retired the next year. The school held a ceremony, gave him a plaque, even named the ROTC training room after him. But the real legacy? The students who never forgot his lesson. Years later, some of them would enlist. Others became teachers, police officers, or firefighters. And whenever someone asked where they learned what true strength looked like, they'd just smile and say, "From a janitor." Years later, the old high school auditorium, the newly built Veterans Leadership Wing, stood gleaming, its walls lined with portraits of local heroes. At the center hung a single-framed janitor's uniform, a silver star pinned to the collar. The keynote speaker, now a decorated Marine captain, stepped to the podium. "They told us heroes wear uniforms," he said, voice steady. "But the greatest one I ever knew wore a janitor's keys." In the back row, an old man in a simple button-up shirt sat unnoticed. No one saluted him this time. That no one needed to. Some men don't need titles to lead. Some battles aren't fought with rifles. And sometimes, the strongest warriors carry mops. Respect isn't given, it's earned. Pass it on.